This is Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.
I shudder thinking how the world can be so cruel. I lend my voice to those who can't. It's time we try, it's time we care, it's time we stand.
Welcome to the Special Chronicles Podcast you're listening to, where we're giving respect and voice to people with special needs. I'm your host, Daniel Smrokowski, a Special Olympics athlete, leader, and former Southern Tribal Global Messenger. On today's episode, we're joined by an inspiring leader from across the pond, Matthew Brough, an athlete leader with Special Olympics Great Britain, based in York, England. Matthew's journey began with his love for tennis, leading him to compete at the 2017 National Summer Games in Sheffield, and later win gold and bronze at the Berlin 2023 World Games. Since then, he's competed athlete leadership training, joined the athlete leadership team in York, and is using his voice to advocate for in schools, the media, and more. He's also a level 1 tennis coach, public speaker, hotel employee, and multi-award-winning athlete. We'll hear about the barriers he's overcome, the impact of Special Olympics has had on his life, and his vision for the future. This episode is brought to you by our friends at ComEd, the Energy First Ambassador Program, powers lives and empowers us here at Special Chronicles. And thank you to United Airlines and the Bridge Business Resource Group for supporting this podcast and the mission of inclusion. You can find today's show notes, links to follow Special Chronicles on socials, and more at specialchronicles.com. That's specialchronicles.com. And now, please put your virtual hands together and let's meet Matthew Brough right here on Special Chronicles.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me on your podcast today.
Yes, it's exciting to.
I look forward to chatting.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you on, and I'm glad that when one of the staff from SOGB had reached out to you about Special Chronicles, and then you sending me a message on WhatsApp. I'm glad to. Having a few other SOGB athlete leaders on over the years, I'm glad to get connected with you. First, Matthew, welcome to the podcast. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Yes, of course. So I'm Matthew. I am a Special Olympics Great Britain athlete that plays tennis. I started playing tennis when I was 12 years old, and I live in York, England. And I started playing tennis when I was 12 years old. There was a tennis group for people with intellectual disabilities, and so it was my first time playing tennis. Never held a racket before in my life, so it was hard. So my hand coordination wasn't great, but you know, to play tennis and to get to a good level of where I wanted to be. It was good. It was good.
Awesome.
It was kind of good that my parents at the time got me into tennis and to hopefully get to a bigger level like the World Games, which we will talk about.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And building upon your introduction, what first? There's a lot of people have different stories of how they've join this movement. But what first brought you into the Special Olympics movement, and share us a little bit more about how you first got involved in tennis?
So I got involved by one of my coaches who told my mum, my dad, and me about Special Olympics that was held in Great Britain, and and at first I never heard about what Special Olympics was. So I was interested in what it was about, because where I live, we don't really know. They don't talk about the Special Olympics much, as I live in quite a small city in England, and so I when I was like a young kid, 15, playing my first Special Olympics tournament in Sheffield. I was nervous at first because it was a new thing for me, and a lot of new people that I've not met before, who around the United Kingdom, because there was a lot of people from Scotland, Wales. So for my first, I'd say, major tournament, it was. I did well to get my 2 medals from Sheffield, from winning bronze in singles and gold in doubles with my doubles partner Laura.
Awesome. So we're going to get into a little bit more of your Special Olympics journey and leadership and advocacy and competing at the World Games after this short break, to let all the listeners know how they can support this podcast. Support for Special Chronicles comes from listeners like you. Please join our supporters with a monthly or one-time donation so we can operate our studio and continue our mission to give respect and voice to people with disabilities, like Matthew and myself and many others. Visit specialchronicles.com/give to support this podcast. That's specialchronicles.com/give. And if you want to access the bonus content of me eating a rocket apple as we got into the studio today, you can join Special Chronicles Plus and access that for any donation. Just go to specialchronicles.com/plus to access that bonus content. And Matthew, as we get into your Special Olympics journey, you competed at the, as I said in the introduction, at the top of the program, you competed at the 2017 National Summer Games in Sheffield. What do you remember most about that experience? To take us back to the National Games.
So from when I remember, I was obviously I was a lot more younger than I am now. Wasn't at the highest tennis standard as I am now. So I was against people who were a lot better than me, and I remember when I did lose a few matches. I was thinking, do I want to continue my tennis journey in the next 5 to 7 years? And I just remember that, it was good to be part of the National Summer Games, and that my coach mentioned this to me. To compete and see where you get to. The tennis organization was brilliant. We had a lot of events after the tennis, so there was lots of things to do after. We could play some board games. There was a Nintendo Wii where you could play Wii Sports. I remember. Yeah.
Awesome.
I just remember it was good because I think I mentioned I won 2 medals from my first national summer games, and that was a great achievement for me. So it was good to have these medals to remember where you started.
Awesome. Well, now building upon from where you started, as we fast forward to the Berlin 2023 World Games, I was also there as a Southern Shriver Global Messenger with our mutual friend Ian Halpel. You won both gold and bronze medals at the Berlin 2023 World Games. Can you share with us what that moment meant to you to go from what you just shared with us at your national games to now competing at the World Games and winning gold and bronze medals in tennis? What did that moment mean to you to compete at the World Games?
Oh, it was brilliant. It just meant so much to me, winning a gold medal and a bronze medal too with my doubles partner Emily. But yeah, there's a huge difference from when it was Sheffield to Berlin.
Yeah,
like I'd say I was more motivated to win medals and to make it to a final singles and to see everybody from around the world competing in tennis. And yeah, it was just amazing to be part of, because I never thought that I would be in that environment because of how popular the Special Olympics is. And yeah, to be one of those that can say to everybody that I've won a gold medal and bronze medal, it's just amazing. And yeah, I just like, I still get goosebumps talking about it to every like now, because it's almost been 2 years, and it's been crazy. It was exactly this month Berlin started.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So it's and by the time our listeners hear this, we're recording this in the beginning of June, but by the time our listeners hear this episode, it will be the beginning of July of next. Well, yeah, the beginning of July. So, but yeah, a month. So 2 years ago, it's amazing that those World Games took place. How did competing at the world on the world stage change your outlook both as an athlete and as a person?
Yeah, I noticed a huge difference from when I first was about to go into that plane to Berlin to then leaving back to England. I noticed a huge difference in me. So I would go to schools and do a public speech. I also got a job as a hotel employee, which we'll talk about. Mm-hmm. So Berlin has helped with like socializing and working life, and I'd say public speaking as well, because I know what to say when I'm talking to people, and to get the cheer from everybody, it's just amazing, and it makes me want to do it all again, and do more speeches. And yeah, it would be amazing to do things like that.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take another short break to mention one of our sponsors for this podcast. When we come back, we'll get into hearing more about you going from on the field to off the field and into athlete leadership, which is another part of this movement. So we'll be right back after this short break. To let you know that support for Special Chronicles comes from the ComEd Energy Force Ambassador Program, the country's in the U.S. first energy and solar efficiency education program designed for and taught by people with disabilities. Learn more at specialchronicles.com/ComEd. That's specialchronicles.com/ComEd. And now, as we move from on the field to off the field, and what a lot of our listeners, if you've been listening for the past 17 years, but over the years, you will know that athlete leadership is another big part of this movement. And so you recently completed your athlete leadership training in 2024. So first, on behalf of all the other athlete leaders, congratulations on that. What did you learn from that experience of completing your athlete leadership training?
I learned a lot from last year about what an athlete leader role is and how to be an athlete leader role. We had lots of Zoom sessions, and it was all about how you want to become an athlete leader. So, my parents said go for it, see where it could lead to. And I contacted the SOGB staff about it, saying I'm up for it. Because since Berlin, it's more that I want to do more things with SOGB and work with them, and hopefully, which we will talk about, athlete leadership roles.
Awesome. We'll definitely get into that. What inspired you to join the athlete leadership team, and what was the Special Olympics City of York committee?
So I am also a City of York committee. So every information about the regional City of York goes to me as well. We talk about how to get the City of York and the regional Yorkshire and Humberside knowing about Special Olympics, and with getting the high standards of any sport for people from our region who want to be part of the Special Olympics family.
Awesome. And it definitely is a family with Special Olympics, and as we've shared on previous episodes, it's important to have, as Special Olympics is becoming an athlete-led organization, an athlete-led movement. How do you use your voice to share feedback and ideas as part of the committee that you're on in your town?
So whatever I would mention to the committee, it would go to them first, because I told them things that I've done with the athlete leaders, and and because now that, which we will talk about as well, because now I'm an athlete leader, all the information would go to the Committee of York, and no more information, if that makes sense.
It does.
So anything that, pretty much what I'd get from the nationals, athlete leadership, would go to the Yorkshire and Humberside.
Awesome. So speaking and media engagement is one part of being an athlete leader, and you've done public speaking, like many of us athlete leaders have done in schools and with the Youth Sports Trust. What do you enjoy about speaking to young people?
It's really important to get a message out there for the next generation, because they will know that inclusivity is important, and we're the voices to tell them about this, telling them about what our journeys now and what we've been through as Special Olympian athletes, from not knowing where we were going in life to winning gold medals and being athlete leaders. And and this is like a important message that we are delivering for young people, not just young people, but like for the people who maybe not sure what Special Olympics are, and we can be the voices that change that.
Absolutely. And as a lot of us athletes with learning disabilities overcome a lot in our lives. So what kind of barriers have you overcome in your life? And then how do you talk about those to empower, to inspire, and to empower others?
Yeah. So my background was from school. Really struggled at school, but I didn't want to let anyone know that I was struggling at that time. And it was just difficult, just because when you've got a learning disability, you feel like you're different, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
And the reality is, it's good to be different. And you just, I feel like when you get older, and you talk to people and you understand it more. And I feel like school taught me a lesson, but Special Olympics is the learner. And that's helped me to where I am today.
Awesome. I love that. I just made a note of the timestamp, so because I think that this will hopefully be a good clip to share with this when this episode airs. Media, speaking to the media is another part of being an athlete leader. So what media opportunities have you taken part in, and how has that helped your confidence to grow?
Yeah, I've been on a couple of media programs. I went to Wimbledon to watch the tennis final, and BBC Sport interviewed myself and my doubles partner, and we were shocked when BBC came to see us. It was great to be part of the BBC interview, and that also makes me want to do more media opportunities. I'd love to one day do public speaking around London and America when one day that will happen.
Awesome.
I'd love to do it worldwide, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you definitely have to talk with Tom, who we mentioned that. Well, we might have mentioned that in the pre-show,
yes.
But Ian Helpo or Kira Byron, because they both have experience of speaking on the with Ian being a former Southern Tribal Global Messenger, along with myself, and then Kira being the chair of the Global Athlete Congress, I believe. So yeah, both of them. So you definitely have to get some tips from them, because they both have experience. As we now switch a little bit gears to career and coaching, which also inclusive employment also aligns with that athlete leadership. And as you mentioned in the last segment about your job, you also started a new job at the Grand Hotel in York. What is and if I ever make it back across the pond, maybe I'll have to go and stay and stay there. What has that experience been like for you? Can you tell us about what you do at this job, and what has been that experience like to have a job at the Grand Hotel in York?
Well, it's very fancy. I'll tell you that once. My role is as a bartender. So I am at the bar. I do work mornings, so I do more the coffee. But sometimes we get the odd alcohol, which sometimes we do have to do that. But we do get a lot of Americans that stay at the Grand Hotel.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
And as a lot of both your boss and a lot of your coworkers, have they been accepting and inclusive of you? And
yeah.
Awesome.
They've been really accepting about my learning disability. I tell them about it, very proud, and say that I've got a learning disability, and all I get is support, and it's just amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure that's a lot of people a lot of other people with learning disabilities like myself and the many other athletes, when you get a job that is accepting, that makes a really positive impact on not just your career, your job, but also on society overall. You mentioned also in the previous segment about that you competed in level 1 tennis, and you become a level 1 tennis coach. What's it like to go from competing both at your national games to the world games to now? Because being a coach is another part of athlete leadership, and so what's it like to coach others in the sport of tennis that you love?
I love about it because my role is being a coach assistant, and it's mainly helping people with intellectual disabilities. And I enjoy that. Like, I do enjoy that. And whenever my coach is doing a session, that's where I will be. I will help out. And it's really fun to help them socialize and just for them to have a good time playing tennis.
Awesome. And in addition to winning gold and bronze medals at the World Games and winning medals at your national games, you've also won an award as an athlete leader. So what does it mean to you to have been awarded the York Sport Young Disabled Sports Person of the Year, not just one time but twice?
Yeah, that was amazing, because the first time that I entered in 2018, I was unlucky. So next year, I wanted to try and get that trophy, and when I did, it was amazing. And
Awesome.
to win it, in a row because of COVID, that we had one in 2022 and won that as well. So it was great. And after I won it, I got interviewed, and she said, "What's next?" And I said, "Berlin."
Awesome. And then you went on to...
And I do get I do have another award coming in about 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Which is the same category.
So since this episode is going to be airing next month, can you, and we're pre-recording this in the beginning of June, what can you give us can you share with us what this new award is?
So this new award is Disability Sportsperson of the Year. So it's similar things to the last two that I've won.
Mm-hmm.
A different organisation. There's more nominees this time, so it's good that they're increasing the level in our city. But yeah, it's good. It's great to be nominated. Whatever happens, the nomination for this award. It's an amazing award.
Awesome. As we move into now your future aspirations, what would you like to compete at another Special Olympics World Games, and what would that mean to you? If I know that the next World Games will be coming up in Santiago, Chile, in the first time that it will be coming to the Latin America region, and so either at those World Games or at another World Games, would you like to compete at another Special Olympics World Games, and what would that mean to you?
Yeah, I would love to compete in the next World Games in Chile. It's great that it's going to be somewhere in the Southern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
The first time. So I would love to retain that gold medal.
Awesome. In tennis as well? Oh, a different...
In tennis, yeah.
In tennis. Awesome. Yeah. So hopefully you get selected to represent SOGB. You've mentioned that you wanted to expand your motivational speaking. What topics or messages are you most important for you to share?
So my quote is "Dream the impossible," because I believe that whatever you want to achieve in life, whatever your dream is, it may happen. It happened with me with winning the gold medal in Germany. So it can happen to you too. Whatever you want to do in life. So dream the impossible.
Awesome. I love that. There's another quote that we'll have to maybe clip out to get people to want to listen to this episode. Before we get to the final segment, where do you see your journey taking you next in sports, leadership, or your career? You mentioned at least in sports wanted to compete at another Special Olympics World Games, but where do you see your journey taking you, both in sports, leadership, or your career?
Yeah, I think with still being part of the athlete leadership, continuing with my tennis, it'll lead me to great things. Yeah, I believe that.
Awesome.
And yeah, just to keep chasing your dreams. I've still got dreams, so I'm going to keep chasing them.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take one final sponsor break. To mention one final sponsor, then when we come back, we'll get into some closing reflections as we wrap up. Our guest is Matthew Brough, Special Olympics Great Britain athlete leader, and we'll be back with some closing reflections with Matthew right after the short break right here on SpecialChronicles.com to let you know that support for Special Chronicles also comes from United Airlines Bridge Disability Business Resource Group, connecting people of all abilities. Learn more on United's commitment to disability inclusion for employment and travel at SpecialChronicles.com/United, SpecialChronicles.com/United. And as we get to some closing reflections, what advice would you give to, I'm sure that we'll have other athletes, both in Great Britain, in your region, from here in the States, and across the globe that will be tuning in. And so, what advice would you give to other athletes who are thinking of stepping into leadership roles, from going from on the field to into athlete leadership roles? What advice will you give to them?
My advice would be just do it, because it's going to be the best decision you've ever made. And you've got lots of support, help with the Special Olympics staff who want to help you get to that level and to that passion where you can be an advocate, a voice, and you can be surrounded with really great people. That I would say that is my advice to future leaders, future Special Olympians. Just go for it.
Awesome. And speaking of that, I'm sure a lot of our listeners might want to get involved in Special Olympics. So how I'm going to put up on the screen for those of you watching the video podcast on our YouTube, but if you're listening to just the audio podcast, we'll put links in the show notes below on SpecialChronicles.com or wherever you get your podcasts. But how can our listeners support or get involved with Special Olympics Great Britain or their local program?
Yes, so this is how you find the program. Am I explaining the program?
No. Just where can our listeners get involved in Special Olympics Great Britain? Is it,
sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So you can find your local athlete leaders if you search Special Olympics Great Britain, and you can go in to find out these details about how you want to start your athlete journey or
awesome
athlete leader.
Awesome. So for those of you listening, whether you're listening in Great Britain or in another country, or you can go on to specialolympics.org and find how you can become an athlete, volunteer, coach, sponsor, all that, specialolympics.org. What's your, before we get to the final couple of questions here, what's your message to people who may be facing their own challenges in life, whether they're facing learning disabilities or intellectual disabilities like you and me, or challenges in life? What message do you have for people who may be facing their own challenges?
Good question. So my advice would be kind to yourself. That's the most important thing. And you've got family, friends around you. Whenever you need to talk to somebody, talk to them. And also, for me, being a voice with my public speaking helps because it gets everyone thinking, and you can be the voice of these audience that are listening to you.
Awesome.
And you get an amazing feeling about it.
Awesome. Before we get to the final question, to wrap things up here, do you have any? The past 40 minutes has flown by, and we'll have to have you back if you get to compete at the next World Games. We'll have to have you back on the program, or maybe it would be awesome to bring this podcast across the pond, and so we'll see what happens in the future. But do you have any final thoughts on your overall time today on the Special Chronicles podcast?
Yeah, it's been amazing to be on this podcast. Thank you for having me, Daniel, and having me have my thoughts about from where I started to where I am now.
Awesome.
So thank you for letting me share my story in your podcast.
Yeah, it's always, I always love talking with other Special Olympics athletes and hearing their stories. What started 17 years ago with me sharing my story on this podcast has gone into talking to many others in this movement. We got one final question, but to introduce that, one final one of our favorite closing questions here at Special Chronicles, we've got a bumper. So let's go ahead and roll that bumper.
We're not just athletes.
We are the ambassadors of an uprising.
Peaceful protesters.
In a rebellion against anyone
who has a fear of difference.
Difference.
Our demands are
Equality.
Dignity.
And the recognition of our shared humanity.
We will not stop.
or accept anything less.
Today, our world is
More divided than ever.
And coming together has never been more urgent.
The revolution.
is inclusion.
Find out more at jointherevolution.org.
Ever since, Matthew, I attended the 2019 Special Olympics World Games in Abu Dhabi, I've been concluding with one final question that we don't just want our listeners to hear our stories, but we want our listeners to take action and bring inclusion into their towns, bring inclusion into their sport clubs and into their workplaces. And this question will help our listeners to learn from your story and to bring inclusion into their lives. So what does inclusion mean to you?
Yeah, inclusion to me is important, and to talk about it in a positive way, getting everyone thinking that different is good, and we shouldn't be ashamed, and we go out and send a message out there. And when we do that, we feel great in ourselves, and we can go on spread the word inclusion.
Awesome. Well, that's a perfect way to wrap up this episode. Thank you again, Matthew, for taking the time to come on the Special Chronicles podcast.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get a chance, if anybody across the pond is all from SOGB wants us to bring this podcast across the pond, it would be awesome to meet up with you in person, and looking forward to having you on the program again. And anytime that you want to come on, you now have my number, so you can drop me a message anytime. And with that, that was such an inspiring conversation with Matthew Brough, Special Olympics athlete, leader, coach, and changemaker. His story is proof that with support and determination, we can break barriers and achieve greatness both on and off the playing field. Big thanks again to our sponsors, the ComEd Energy First program, the country's first energy efficiency education program taught by people with disabilities, and to United Airlines Business Resource Group for their generous support of this podcast. To follow more stories like Matthew's, subscribe to the Special Chronicles podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit us online at specialchronicles.com. That's specialchronicles.com for resources, interviews, and more episodes. Until next time, I'm Daniel Smrokowski, reminding you to stay bold, stay brave, and stay special. See you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Special Chronicles Podcast. Our podcast was produced by Daniel Smrokowski on the Special Chronicles Network. Follow Special Chronicles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Subscribe, rate, and review Special Chronicles on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Our website, specialchronicles.com, where you can stream our archives of over 500 episodes absolutely for free. Also, there's a list of our favorites, original series, award-winning columns, and blogs. And sign up for our newsletter to receive exclusive bonus content delivered to your inbox. Again, specialchronicles.com. Special Chronicles is hosted by Podbean Podcast Hosting. Our live streams are powered by StreamYard. Thanks as always to our business manager, Adam Smrokowski, who always encourages us to never give up. I'm Daniel Smrokowski, back next week with more stories.
Special Chronicles, giving respect and a voice to people with special needs.